building a better Bay Area, moving forward, finding solutions. This is ABC 7 News.
Hi there, I'm Kristen Z. You're watching Getting Answers live on ABC 7, Hulu Live, and wherever you stream. We ask experts your questions every day at 3 to get answers for you in real time. Today, we have ABC 7 News special correspondent Dr. Alok Patel to talk about the concerns you may have ahead of the state dropping the indoor mask mandate next week. But first, he's the Bay Area-born Hollywood director whose hit film Crazy Rich Asians and the more recent In the Heights with Lin-Manuel Miranda you've probably seen.
They're crazy rich.
Now, you really should have told me that you're like the Prince William of Asia.
That's ridiculous. Much more of a Harry.
Today's all we got, so we cannot stop. This is our block.
Attentive fans might have noticed that Jon M often gives food the star treatment in his movies, but you might still be surprised to know about a new role he's taking on with a Bay Area-based grocery delivery service called Weee. Joining us now from his very busy schedule is Jon M himself. Happy Lunar New Year, Jon. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me. I'm very excited.
Okay, so new year, new role. You announced this week that you're the Chief Creative Officer for Weee. Okay, so for people who are unfamiliar, what is Weee? And we want the origin story of how you got involved.
Yeah, Weee is a Bay Area company. They do Asian groceries and Hispanic groceries delivered right to your door. I grew up in a house of food from Chef Chu's in Los Altos, so I was always around story and food, and so it made sense that I started seeing these vans around Weee with 3 E's, and my friends were ordering off Weee on the app on their iPhone or Android, and my cousins and other people to get all the sort of ingredients that when you grew up with, that maybe even me here in LA, I didn't know where to find them, but I could find them on Weee. And I got so fascinated with this company because it really helped tell a story through food to spread my culture to my children and to my friends who know nothing about these ingredients. And it was such an easy way to order. So I looked into it and met with the founder, Larry Liu, they're in Fremont. And I just loved what they were doing. It's a company that was trying to make change through actually sharing your foods.
All right, there we have a picture of, I think, you with Larry and a couple of other founders, executives of the company. So they're based in Fremont, right? But they're in 40 states, right?
40 states all around the country, growing very quickly. And they have a huge skew from they have all different storefronts in the Weee app. They have Chinese, Filipino, Japanese, Korean, Mexican, and so you can sort of go there and get all your things that especially if you don't have a store near you, an Asian store near you, you can get it right there, and it's so convenient. And it's, I love the philosophy about them. That's why I wanted to get in on it, was that the more we share our foods, the more we will care about each other.
Okay.
Making a movie like Crazy Rich Asians only goes so far, but actually sharing food and sending it to your friends is a whole nother deal.
Right. No, absolutely. But again, you're not just a celebrity investor. You actually know your food. In fact, Jon, I would say you revere food growing up in your family, right? You talked about Chef Chu's, the restaurant in Los Altos your dad founded 51 years ago. It's still iconic.
Crazy. But
you can't just put anything into your food, because that kind of represents the love that you put into your family and friends.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much messages in food. When you're sick, what do your parents give you? When your energy is off, your chi is off, what do they feed you? When you need healing, what do they feed you? And so I'm myself personally excited to discover this through this company and through telling these stories through, they have this, within the app, they have a social network where people share their food that they bought, and you can buy exactly what they just ordered, and they're telling you how to make certain dishes, how to hack certain ingredients, so there's a lot of exciting things. I want to shoot like my parents on there to tell them like their favorite food secrets and our grandparents' favorite food secrets. So it almost becomes like a library of crystallizing our history and culture that not just ourselves can see, but other people too.
Okay, if Chef Chu's secrets are up there, we're sold. We're going on there. We're checking it out.
He doesn't know that yet. Shh, don't tell him.
Okay.
I'm going to secretly record on my iPhone and post it.
Okay. We have a viewer question here. Teresa wants to know, ask Jon what is his favorite dish at Chef Chu's?
Oh, I don't know. I love the garlic lobster noodles that they have there. It's pretty good. But I'm a basics guy. I love the pot stickers and the Chinese chicken salad. It always is a comfort food for me.
All right, and there's a John's favorite food section, I think, on Weee as well. It's called Choose Choices, Choose Picks. I don't know what.
Choose choices. I like chew on these, but they didn't want to do that one.
Okay.
So, but you can always click on the app, download on the App Store, and you can see what I sort of present. And I'm going to keep updating that. So we'll have more treats, things that my kids started to like, new things, old things.
Got it.
Maybe use things.
The things that you do as Chief Creative Officer. I'm just thinking it's really cool because, you know, I know friends who started using Weee during the pandemic, right? They didn't want to go grocery shopping. And that's in the Bay Area where they can get to an Asian supermarket. But if you're in a state or a small town where you don't have access to Asian or Hispanic, you know, groceries, ingredients, definitely they send it to your door, right?
I have cousins who are in college right now, and we're going to send care packages of foods that I know that they're not going to go look for it. They're just going to go buy Doritos. But these treats, we're going to get them some yummy Asian treats that they can share with their dorm room.
All right, sounds awesome. I want to talk about the Oscars a little bit here, since I have you. So many people thought In the Heights, by the way, that you made with Lin-Manuel Miranda should have been nominated. I totally concur.
Thank you. That's very nice.
Right, but some also feel that the Academy this year didn't build on last year's movement toward inclusion and diversity. What do you think?
Listen, I think this is it's always an evolving movement that's happening, and they, I thought they had some good choices. I think they could made bolder choices in other places, but this is something that can't be fixed in 1 year and shouldn't satisfy everything in 1 year. Actually, that we need to keep pushing. That it's a much grander as the membership changes, as our philosophy of movies change, as movies themselves change, and the audience changes. These are things that I think will be reflected in this. But I thought they had some good choices. I mean, Drive My Car. I thought it was a really great choice in the top 10. I thought even the first female DP. And some of those things I thought were really exciting.
Yeah, and in terms of inclusion, I think Coda is great too, right?
Coda, oh my gosh, we didn't even talk. Yes, it's amazing movie, and what I talk about, sort of showing a world that maybe a lot of people don't see, and humanizing it. All
right, best picture pick out of the nominees.
Oh, come on, you're putting me on the spot here. I don't know. I feel like The Power of Dog has the edge right now. Kirsten and Jesse are good friends, so I'm rooting for them. You never count out Steven Spielberg though with West Side Story, but I think actually the surprise is going to be Drive My Car.
Okay, I think this one will be easy for you. Favorite best animated feature? That's a gimme, right?
Well, Raya is amazing, but Encanto is playing constantly in my house, so we don't talk about Bruno very well.
No, that's what I'm banking on. I think Lin-Manuel Miranda's golden there. Although I think we don't talk about Bruno should have been nominated, but that's another story altogether.
I agree. All those songs are insane.
Oh my God, insane. Okay.
That's how you know that Lin has a gift that goes beyond. Like, he did so much this year. I mean, I think Tick Tick Boom should have been nominated for his directorial debut. So we were very lucky to have him in our life.
Absolutely. I love Tick Tick Boom too. Look, your current project that you're busy with, that I'm sure you're taking time out from to talk to us today, Wicked, with the incredible Cynthia Erivo as Elphaba and Ariana Grande as Glinda. By the way, amazing, inspired casting. Where is that at? Is production underway?
We are about to be. The casting was a huge part of that. We're almost ready with the script, and so we're about to go shoot this thing. But in the meantime, I sent them each a Weee box with great Asian treats to introduce them to my world. So I think you're going to see some of that on the Yellow Brick Road.
Well, a well-nourished actor is one that doesn't mind when you say take 10, right?
Yeah. By the way, when I told Cynthia Erivo that she got the role, she was in the UK, and so it was like 10 o'clock at night, and she had just come back from an Asian grocery store. So she had all these Asian groceries. So she's a huge fan of Asian food. So I'm excited to be sharing all that stuff.
That's fantastic. All right, well, I can't let you go without asking, because people always ask, when will Crazy Rich Asians 2 happen?
I would love to know too. No, we're working on the script. I feel like I repeat the answer every time, but the script has to be on another level. And, you know, we're going to only demand that to be able to pull everybody back in, all that cast that has grown from there. The world's a totally different place since when we last made it. Everyone is a huge star now, and the Hollywood has changed. So we just want to make sure it's right.
All right, Jon, you know, thank you so much. I guess that's as close as we're going to get to an answer for now.
We're going to get
but you let us know here first when you know, okay?
You'll know because you'll be in it. You'll play the reporter that, talks about Astrid getting, you know, going on dates.
I was angling for that. You know, I tried out for Alphaba, didn't get it. That's okay. Cynthia's a class above, so maybe here's my chance. But Jon, always great talking to you. Thank you for sharing your love of food. You know, Hollywood director, dad, foodie, now chief creative officer for Weee. Thanks so much. Great talking with you.
Thank you.
Take care. All right, coming up next, ABC News special correspondent Dr. Alok Patel is joining us to answer your questions about the latest COVID headlines. We'll be right back.
In commercial break.
All right, everybody. Hey, thanks for watching that segment. I'm so thankful to Jon M for coming on the show. Jeanette Lihada, you said you love Weee. That's good to know, because my friend has been telling me I need to try it, and I've just never gotten around to it. But now that also I know Jon's, you know, behind and working with them, I know it's got to be good because he's like Mr. Foodie from growing up at Chef Chu's. All right, so definitely I will try it. Teresa, I hope we answered your question about his favorite dish. The lobster garlic noodles are amazing, but so are I think that I really like a steak dish that they have as well, which is like amazing. Okay, we'll be right back. So get your COVID questions ready for Dr. Alok Patel.
Back in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, 1.
With California's indoor mask mandate expiring next week and all Bay Area counties dropping their own mandates, except for Santa Clara County, you may be wondering when it might be safe for you to go out without a mask. While the answer may seem clear to some people, for others, it's a complicated calculation with ever-changing variables. Joining us now to offer some guidance and to discuss the latest COVID headlines, ABC 7 News special correspondent Dr. Alok Patel. Dr. Patel, thanks for coming on the show. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me, Kristen. Good to be here.
Not to worry. Even though I said the words variables and calculations, I will not ask you to do math, okay? That I promise.
Now, those are some like high school calc terms. I was like, whoa.
I know. Whoa. Okay. All right. Now it's my turn to say whoa, because I know to get us started today, you have a round of 2 truths and a lie to give us the latest info on COVID-19. So I am ready, and I hope our Facebook viewers are too.
They're always ready. I don't even know if you need them anymore, Kristen, because you're basically an ace at this point.
No.
So everyone knows what to do. Tell me which one of these is not true. Is it A, this is data from HHS, U.S. hospitalizations dropped below 100,000 for the first time in a month? Or is it B, according to the surveillance data, Omicron represents 80% of new infections in the United States? Or is it C, and I verified that all these state abbreviations were correct, Massachusetts, New Jersey, Delaware, New York, Illinois, Connecticut, California, Washington, and Oregon are among the states with plans to lift mask mandates.
All right,
which
Facebook
one of these
viewers,
is not true?
Which one is not true? Well, I know the answer is not C, because all those states are indeed planning to lift mask mandates, and I'll add Nevada in there because that one just came down. Breaking news, Dr. Patel.
You're going to one-up me, all right?
Yep, I did, and you didn't get me on that one. You know what? I am going to say that B seems to be the lie, even though we have a couple of very smart viewers saying A. But I think Omicron is more than 80% of new infections still. So let's go with that, although I will say I have many smart A advocates too. But let's go with B.
Ace, B is not true. So A is true, and this is obviously optimistic. But, I don't think we should lose sight of the fact that we still have a lot of hospitalizations. 90,000 is still a lot. 2,000 deaths a day. We can't normalize these numbers as we talk about the new normal.
Right.
B is false. According to new CDC data, it's 100%. There were 0 cases of Delta sequenced over the last week. And of the 100%, about 96% were the first generation BA1. And then about 3% were that BA2 or the quote unquote stealth Omicron. And C is in fact true. You already knew this. This is a big topic that people are talking about. And I will just point out one thing. Washington is going to lift its outdoor mask mandate. They haven't made any talk about their indoor one. I just don't understand why there was an outdoor mask mandate to begin with.
Right. All right. By the way, Daniel, our viewer, was a little extra. He said, I think it's 95%. So he, not only did he get the right answer, he was like trying to shuffle a little bit.
Daniel,
there. Thank you.
I respect that.
All right, I did too. All right, let's talk a little bit more about the lifting of the mask mandate here in California, indoors. And again, it's for vaccinated people. So if you're unvaxxed, Dr. Patel, keep wearing your mask, right? But give us some ability to kind of gauge for ourselves what to consider when we're deciding whether or not to take off our masks. Like when might we be able to now, where maybe we didn't, and what kind of questions should we ask?
I don't think things have changed, Kristen, in terms of assessing your individual situation. There's a lot of people I personally talked to. I even have some patient families who said they're going to continue wearing the mask while we still have a high level of community transmission. And by the CDC's definition, over 90% of the U.S. counties, including all the counties around us, still have that high level of transmission. So in that sense, if you yourself are high risk, someone around you is high risk, you just plain don't feel comfortable in a certain indoor setting, it is 100% okay, and it should be accepted to continue wearing that mask. But I think one big thing that could give people a little bit of ease is if you go out there and you get the primary prevention, and that is a vaccine. So if someone out there is young, healthy, and they've gotten their vaccines plus the booster shot, I would feel good about that individual being able to lift their mask after answering all these questions. But for people who have children who are not yet eligible, or someone who's immunocompromised, I would still recommend keeping a mask on you.
Okay, speaking of, children who are not yet eligible, vaccine approval timeline, talk to us about that. We know next week the FDA is meeting to discuss that Pfizer, vaccine for 6-month-olds to 4-year-olds, right?
And any minute now, we might see some early data released from Pfizer about what they found in December and just some more details heading into that big meeting on February 15th. Kristen, there's going to be a lot of eyes on this meeting because I don't think anyone out there should assume that people are just going to say, yes, we're going to approve this vaccine. It's a little unorthodox to be talking about a vaccine that didn't have efficacy but showed a lot of safety, but there is some promise in that the third shot would actually just say, hey, this is a wonderful vaccine. It works, and we just need to speed up the timeline. So if everything goes according to plan and the meeting at the VRB-PAC, the FDA's independent review committee, says green light, we might actually see an EUA go through for this vaccine early March, end of February at the fastest.
All right. Speaking of the vaccine, Jenna wants to know if there's any information on waning immunity from booster shots because she got her booster back in September.
I haven't seen any formal data about this, but I'm glad that she asked this question because oftentimes when we talk about waning immunity, people are only looking and considering antibody levels, which those naturally decrease over time. But we know that the T cell will come back and still give you that robust defense and build the antibody levels back up. Long story short, I would not worry about it right now because all the data is showing us that you are extremely well protected with the full vaccine series.
All right, Dr. Alok Patel, do not go away because we have another round of Two Truths and a Lie where you'll try to get me again. And we have your questions to answer right now on Facebook Live. So we'll take a short break and join us on Facebook. All right, Dr. Patel, Patty Jean here, she's expressing a thought that a lot of people have, that this thing is an endemic at this point. And she says the virus is going to continue to mutate, but it's not going to kill as many people as it did in the beginning. So my question is that how viruses always progress? In that now that we've had Omicron, right, can we expect actually something more deadly to possibly still emerge? Or do you think, well, so many people have had it, you know, with the immunity and the vaccine, it's going to keep on getting less and less potent, if you will, with every variation?
Well, I'll say two separate things here. The first thing is based on the virologists and the text that I've read, what I've reviewed. Viruses tend to mutate into a less deadly form. However, that could all change if the virus decides to mutate and it's able to evade our immune system, or it has more transmissibility. But we saw that with Omicron. Omicron was able to infect and reinfect a lot more people, but it didn't cause more severe disease. So I feel pretty confident about that moving forward. And also, when we talk about going endemic, we're getting there. We definitely are. The question, though, is, do we start assuming that we're there now, or can we just wait a few more weeks or a month before we start lifting restrictions? And I think the latter has more data backing it.
So how many weeks?
I wouldn't be able to give a prediction, but I think it would be great if we could see another 2-3 weeks of this decline we're seeing right now in case numbers, and we don't see another spike. And as we lift restrictions, we do it in a staggered fashion, so we don't see that we're going to start causing local outbreaks. Because, Kristen, the thing is, there's a lot of states that already don't have a mask mandate, and states where people have been resistant to go out and get vaccines. And those are the communities that we're worried about.
Okay. All right, speaking of reinfection, I think Prince Charles just got it again. We can talk about that in a little bit.
10, 9.
All right, coming back.
Possibly.
6, 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
And we are back with Dr. Alok Patel with another round of Two Truths and a Lie. So put your thinking caps back on.
And your thinking caps are needed to tell us which one of these is not true. Is it A, a CDC forecast predicts that there could be upwards of 978,000 deaths reported by March 5th? Or is it B, Prince Charles tested positive for SARS-CoV-2. He's fully vaccinated with no previous COVID infections. Or is it C, a report about an Omicron outbreak among white-tailed deer is prompting further questions about animal spread? Which one of these is not true?
Okay, I know I might sound a little arrogant, but I don't think I need my Facebook viewer friends here to chime in. I mean, I welcome it, don't get me wrong. I always like it when you guys help out to affirm, but I definitely heard something about deer, so I'm ruling out C. And I think given that we're over 900,000 deaths now, in another, few weeks, that figure sounds right. And I do know, because I was going to ask you about Prince Charles testing positive again, I think he had it way back in March 2020. So B is the lie. And Robert is with me, Bill is with me, Rachel's with me, Tom is with me. Okay, everybody's with me. So B.
All right, I need our viewers to also send me messages on social media about whether or not I need to amp up the difficulty for Kristen, because B is not true. But Kristen, each one of these represents an important point. You threw some calculus at me, so I'm going to throw some right back at you. If you look at A, and we talk about cases coming down, people assume that, hey, cases are coming down, we're all good. But on that downward slope, if you can imagine that graph, that integral calculus term is still a lot of infections and a lot of death, and we can't ignore that. Another 78,000 deaths is unconscionable because a lot of this is preventable. And B is, in fact, a lie. It's important because people have already started to use this headline to bolster their, hey, vaccines don't work, he's been reinfected. But guess what? All we heard is that a positive test, that is SARS-CoV-2. We don't have any reports that he has severe COVID-19. Hopefully he doesn't. We know the vaccines work in preventing that. And C, it just is adding to the information we've seen out there about animals getting COVID. And the question there is it possible for them to be a host for this, cause another outbreak? No evidence yet, but a pretty cool scientific study.
Okay, Dr. Patel, look, with all the people saying, hey, are we at endemic? Yes, certainly we want it to be. Denmark has kind of taken the lead by just kind of declaring we're there. They've dropped all restrictions. And I want to know how they're doing, because I read they have a huge number of cases, but they also have really high vaccination rate, higher than ours. So kind of break that down and tell us what that suggests.
Totally. And a lot of comparisons to Denmark right now. But here's the reality. Denmark has over 80% vaccination rate. So some of the people who are saying, hey, Denmark, we need to lift Denmark lifted restrictions, we need to also, aren't even vaccinated. They ignore that part. Over 60% of people in Denmark have been boosted. Denmark also has recorded about 3,900 deaths since the start of the pandemic.
Wow.
Kristen, we've had more deaths than that in the last 2 days. Denmark is also about 1/9 the size of California. So we cannot compare ourselves to Denmark at all. It's like apples and a piece of cardboard. It's not even in the same category.
I see.
As far as I'm concerned. We are seeing that case rate go up in Denmark, but they do have a big buffer, as you mentioned, in people who have been vaccinated. So hopefully we don't see a rise in hospitalizations there. But if you want to be Denmark, you know what to do. Go out there and get those vaccination numbers.
Okay. We want to be Denmark. We want to be Denmark for so many reasons. Okay. I also want to point out a couple of news headlines that made me think about how if we were to say, hey, Omicron doesn't make you very sick, it's just like a cold, but still there are some long-term potential consequences. And there is a study, I think, that found that COVID survivors face lasting heart risks, right?
COVID survivors can. I wouldn't misinterpret the study and say that everyone who gets COVID is going to have a potential for having long COVID or heart conditions. But yes, there are multiple studies out there. One was looking at the potential for having long-term arrhythmias, heart inflammation. There's others talking about long-term issues with your memory. All this potentially right now falls under the category of long COVID, which we haven't really well characterized yet. But Kristen, it's an important point because hospitalizations and deaths are not the only metric. We also have to think about long COVID and the quality of life that it could have if you have an acute illness, which is all completely preventable.
Okay. And is there some new study that talks about how coronavirus can destroy the placenta and lead to stillbirth? Because if that is true, that is certainly a worry for pregnant women.
I haven't seen that specific study, but we do know that the risk of getting COVID-19 when you're pregnant is pretty high. That group on its own is considered a high-risk population, not only for the mom, but also for the effects on your developing baby. So that's why even pregnant women out there, it's very important that they go out and get vaccinated. And everything you've heard about the vaccine affecting the baby, the placenta, all of it has been debunked. It's all misinformation. It's completely safe in pregnant women.
All right. And I know you researched that very closely, you having a baby yourself. So, you know, COVID was there as you went through it.
She has antibodies thanks to my wife.
All right. That's great. Dr. Alok Patel, thank you so much. Stick around and join us on Facebook Live. We'll take a short break. All right, Dr. Patel, Vivian has a question for you. Any data coming out about type 1 diabetics who are boosted and their vulnerability, I guess, if they're vaccinated and boosted?
I have not heard any specific studies about that. We have a couple studies involving type 1 diabetics and being high risk, but also the potential rise in new cases of diabetes from people who have had COVID-19 in the pediatric population. That sounds a little convoluted, but there is some research about what could potentially happen to your pancreas from COVID-19 and can that cause diabetes?
Okay. Also, I wonder about, you know how like people were all getting rapid tests during the peak of the Omicron surge, and there was a lot of talk about whether swabbing your throat could be somehow more effective at detecting Omicron than swabbing your nose. Is there any new information on that?
I haven't. It's so funny you bring that up because I was just talking to a colleague about that the other day. I haven't heard anything new about this at all. I haven't seen any updates about swabbing that. I would recommend that people out there just follow what the FDA guidance is and don't try to swab your throat first and then your nose, because one thing we don't know is how your saliva could change depending on what you've eaten and where exactly you need to swab it for how long. I would just follow the instructions.
Okay. What about masking in schools? As you know, that's being handled separately by the state of California. They're considering lifting that now. What would make you feel comfortable when you see that and you go, okay, I think we're ready to do that and lift the mandate?
What would make me feel comfortable is a vaccine being eligible for kids under 5. That is straight up what would make me the most comfortable. It would also make me feel better to see another couple of weeks of declining numbers and to see that we don't have high community transmission. And I feel better about lifting masks in a place like San Francisco or New York City, where we have high vaccination rates. And I have a lot of trepidation about saying lift masks in places where there's a lot of community transmission. There's a lot of resistance towards even following any guidelines if people aren't getting vaccinated. I worry about those communities.
All right. Thank you so much as always. Daniel says thank you, Dr. Patel. Always great info, and I agree. See you later.
See you soon, Kristen.
Thank you so much for joining us on this interactive show, Getting Answers today. We talk with the film director behind Crazy Rich Asians and In the Heights, Jon M. about his new venture with the Weee grocery app. And ABC7 special correspondent Dr. Alok Patel answered all your questions about COVID-19. And we'll be here every weekday at 3 on air and on live stream answering your questions. ABC7 News is now streaming 24/7, so get the ABC7 Bay Area app and join us whenever you want, wherever you are. World News Tonight is coming up next, and I'll see you back here at 4 o'clock.